first off, let me start this out by saying hello to all of you. I hope you're doing well today. For today's video, we are going to dive into a true crime story that shocked the state of Georgia. It was brutal, it was senseless, and for quite a while it even was unsolved. I am out at Lake Juliet. I know the sun is shining right in your guys' faces, so let me move that. The sun is brutal sometimes. At any rate, like I said, I am out at Lake Juliet here in Georgia. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a location they would pick for a Friday the 13th movie. And even on that note, Jason, he does a lot of killing there. And this spot right here where we are, this is a like a boat ramp. It's also a popular hangout for the younger generation, younger than me anyways, to come and have some alone time with their boyfriend or girlfriend or partner, whatever the case may be. And this particular site is the site of a brutal murder. Therefore, this video today, we are going to be talking about the brutal murder of Patrick Grant Hendrickson and Michele Cartagena. This is a horrible story. It really is. I know it's unfortunate that the sun is facing us at this time of night, but this scenic park here is very beautiful over this Lake Juliet. It is really beautiful here. Unfortunately, I probably should have picked a different time to come when the sun wasn't, you know, beaming right in our faces. Just in the short time that I've been here, I've actually seen several people who have come and launched their boats off into the water on the lake here. And it's just beautiful. So, Patrick Grant Hendrickson, as far as I can tell, he went by Grant. That's, you know, I did not personally know him, but as far as I can tell, he went by Grant. And his girlfriend, her name was Michele Cartagena. Now, they had been together for several years, and they were even talking about marriage. Grant was 22, and Michele was 19. Both of them were in college at Mercer University, just right outside of Macon, Georgia. On January the 3rd of 1995, their bodies were discovered, murdered, right here in this, it's a boat ramp parking area, or for fishing or whatever, that's what it is. But like I said, usually late in the evenings, on the weekends, the younger generation come out here and they kiss and do whatever with their significant others. So their bodies were found right here. They had both been shot to death. In fact, take my car for example. Michele's body had actually been yanked out of her vehicle and drug about 20 feet away or so in the grassy pine, you know, the straw area here. Nothing says that she was assaulted sexually or anything like that, but for whatever reason, her body was pulled from the vehicle and drug about 20 feet away. The way in which they were killed, how they were shot, was particularly troublesome. It was worrisome. It was gruesome. Both of them had been brutally shot with a Colt AR-15 semi-automatic assault rifle. On top of being shot with that AR-15, Grant was also shot 2 more times right in the head with a 9mm Ruger pistol. To the police, it seemed like somebody had a connection to both of them, that they were so angry that after he had shot and killed them both with his AR, he came up closer and put 2 more shots into Grant's head. It's horrible. The local police department and Grant and Michele's families, they couldn't figure out why someone would want to kill them like that. Like they say neither one of them like would hurt a fly. Neither one of them had any enemies as far as they knew. They were both like doing extra well in their college classes. Like, I mean, they were both just all around good people. Well, once the police came on the scene, they started trying to piece everything back together. And ultimately, this is what they came up with. On the 2nd, Grant and Michele left their home. They were going out on a date night. They were going to get dinner and to go watch a movie. As they drove down I-75, there was an eyewitness. A guy named John Ambrose noticed them riding in Michele's Honda Accord down the interstate. She was over in the right lane and he was over in the left. As they were headed down the interstate, suddenly a blue Honda CRX swerved in front of them. He pulled right in front of Michele and Grant and actually then started slowing down. As a result, that made Michele and Grant have to start slowing down. So then John Ambrose lost sight of him. He eventually, got off the interstate and he didn't see him again. Police know that Grant and Michele made it to the movie theater. There's eyewitnesses that put them at the movie theater that night, and then they told friends that they were leaving the movie theater and coming right here to this scenic park on Lake Juliet. John Ambrose, the same eyewitness who saw them earlier in the night driving down the interstate, just so happened to also be coming here to the same location. And as John Ambrose gets on the road, he first notices the blue Honda CRX that had cut Grant and Michele off earlier on the interstate. He notices the car sitting right off the side of the road with its parking lights on, just sitting there. So John continues into the park. He noticed the blue CRX sitting right there. He continues into the park. As John enters the park, he recognizes Michele's Honda as the car he had spotted earlier. And, obviously he remembered it because of the blue CRX cutting them off, and it all stood out in his mind. So he recognized them sitting here. A little bit of time went by. John Ambrose left the scenic park. Some more kids who were here at this park, they were making out or doing whatever they were doing in their vehicles. They just happened to be other eyewitnesses. They saw the Honda CRX pulling into the park, and a few seconds later, they heard gunshots. They saw the Honda CRX squealing its tires as it pulled out of the parking lot. Well, when all the other people who were out here went to investigate what those shots were, what the noises they heard were, they found Grant and Michele's bodies dead. After that point, it took a few turns, a few ups and downs, as investigators tried to piece together what happened. So, at first it, seemed like the CRX, whoever was driving the Honda CRX, was the killer. But then a new witness came forward who said that he was in the parking lot of the movie theater where they went and watched the movie earlier in the night, and he saw a young man arguing with Grant out in the parking lot of the movie theater. He said he appeared to be drunk, and he was with another man, and then they both got into a white pickup truck and drove away. Investigators had him look at a photo lineup. He picked out the person who he saw, and it turns out that that person was a friend of Michelle's, and he even confessed to police that he had been madly in love with Michele for many years, and he was unhappy that she was with Grant. However, he denied any involvement in it at all. He even gave the police an alibi for where he was after he left the movie theater. Police to date have not confirmed that alibi, and he was actually still considered a person of interest. For nearly 2 years, this case remained unsolved. They had no leads. Investigators scrounged for any piece of evidence they could find. They interviewed over 2,000 people who had purchased handguns prior to these murders. And then finally, 2 years after the murders, investigators got a break in the case. They ran across a man named Andy Cook. They tried to interview him, and in their official police report, they said he acted suspiciously when they referred to anything involving the murder of Grant and Michele. During that interview, Andy Cook claimed that he had gotten rid of his AR-15 in April of 1994, almost a year prior to the murders. However, as the investigators kept digging, they found out that he didn't even buy it until August of 94. They knew he was lying almost instantly. Once they pointed it out that, well, you didn't even buy it till August, so how'd you get rid of it in April? He became very defensive, and then he claimed that he would not cooperate any longer. He needed to speak with his father. Now, his father was an FBI agent. They let him go that day, but they decided that they were going to look into him more thoroughly. Shortly thereafter, they found out that Andy Cook did have a Honda CRX registered to his name. So, after learning that new evidence, Andy Cook was put under surveillance for, it was a good week. He was under surveillance, and they were able to arrest him on December the 4th of 1996 for a hunting violation, of all things. After he was arrested and was in custody, he confessed to his FBI father that he had killed them. He says that Grant and Michele were absolutely random targets. They were in his way while he was driving at a high rate of speed down the interstate, and it made him mad just because they were in his way. And then he would later go on to tell someone else that he did it just to see if he could get away with it. He wanted it just because he didn't know them. He had never met them before. He had no connection to them. So he killed them to see if he could just get away with murder. He would go on to also say that because he did not have a connection to her, he drug her away from the car. That's why her body was found about 20 feet away. He drug her out of the car and drug her away, ripped her clothes off, and then spit tobacco juice in between her legs to make it seem like it was a sexual assault. That's absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. The couple, Grant and Michele, who were just trying to have a date night on the town, came here to enjoy some last minute time together before they had to go their separate ways back home to their parents. Them just getting on I-75 that night, crossing paths with Andy Cook, caused, they lost their lives. Andrew Allen Cook was eventually charged with the murders, and on March the 19th of 1997, he was convicted. He was found guilty, and he was sentenced to death. On February the 22nd of 2013, the state of Georgia carried out that punishment at Georgia's Diagnostic Prison, which is the same place that the Stocking Strangler was held, and several other Georgia notorious murderers. This is an absolutely beautiful place here. And it's unfortunate that this was the spot Grant and Michele lost their lives. Very unfortunate. Anywhere would have been unfortunate, truth be told. That's gonna do it for this episode today. And the horrific murders of Grant Hendrickson and Michele Cartagena. The things that humans can do to other humans. You know, Andrew Allen Cook is, you know, just despicable. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're new here, go down, click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. If you want to help support the channel, check out the links in the description box below. That's always much appreciated as well. Thank you all. I will see you again tomorrow. Please stay safe and stay healthy.